What's going on, everybody? Goose the 13th here with another video for the week of the 19th of March 2026. This is actually a double banner week for us, and the other suit that we did is already up. Now we also have the Geara Doga FF Full Frontal. In this case, this is a 550 cost and above because it has 3 more levels. It's another kind of Geara Doga sleeves, etc, etc situation. It is a raid for ground space with space preference. A kind of differently kitted out just regular Geara Doga with some interesting skills. Heavy attack that can come out pretty quick, and some other fun stuff including this gun. So let's get into it real quick. So the rifle itself, ammo type beam, 300 range, 450 power, and an ammo of 36. Bigger thing about this is that despite it having a slower rate of fire, it has a lot of accumulation per shot. Good amount of burstage there. So you can actually hold down folks pretty well while moving forward here. One thing that you will notice overall is that it does not have a serpent. There's no cable on this one, which is weird considering that it's a raid. But, you know, heavy attack, other stuff going on, so, you know, what it is, what it is. Similarly, in that vein, we do have the beam sword, which does not have a big old overhand chop anymore for the downswing. It is actually an advancing thrust now. The axe still has the chop, but like we were saying before, this is the heavy attack weapon of this. We also have another stun here for the Sturmfaust, as well as an underslung grenade launcher for that rifle, and a smoke discharger, just in case you need to try to get stuff off you and move around a little bit. Overall, the range for this is 200 for that, 250 for the grenade launcher, and 300. So generally midline, pretty good just for advancing and moving in to do your actual dirt, which is for the melee itself. Moving on, then we have our stats and skills. For the stats, we got 21k for the health. Ballistic, beam, and melee resistance are 18, 22, and 26 respectively, with range strength being 15 and melee strength being a baseline of 40. Movement speed of 135, top speed of 215, thruster gauge of 75, and a turning speed of 72. In general, we're mostly just going to be talking about this 550 version of this suit, so if you want to see the other versions and the levels and the way that they scale, you know, go into your data thing, check out the items, and then just go to mobile suits, and they should all just be lined up there. But for part slottage, we have 17, 14, and 9 for close, medium, and long. Assault booster level 2, high spec AMBAC level 2, maneuver armor level 3, high performance thruster control system level 2, melee composite system 1, offense system 1, heavy attack 2 actually, leg shock absorber 3, emergency evasion system 2, so you get 2 rolls out of that, explosive reactive armor, as well as anti-blast stabilizer, so you got a little bit more defense when it comes to splash damage and all that other stuff from lower grade stuff in terms of ballistic weaponry. Very nice. Special leg buffer 3 was 25% defense on the leggies. Special left arm equipment buffer is actually 35%, and we have special right shoulder armor buffer for 30% on the other side. We also have active guard level 3. So touchpad, guard stance reduces damage taken by 80%, negates stagger, but also drains thrusters. Can't manually disable them temporarily after negating attacks. Can be used when stationary, moving, or landing. And the bigger thing here is that we have interrupt guard. Melee attack recovery can be cancelled with the guard action, however thruster consumption is increased after use. So a lot of guard canceling stuff and shenanigans that you can do if you really want to try to dig in with this suit. Backing out a little bit and checking out the enhancement expansions, we have +1 to melee resistance, +1 to melee modifier, -3% to recovery time for thruster overheat, and complex expansion, so extra slottage at 2170 here at the very end. So for the upgradable stuff, we have +5 to melee resistance and +5 to melee modifier, but then we also get that up to essentially 46 baseline. The cooling support system is probably the more important thing outside of complex expansion, I would say, just because it is good to try to get yourself more mobile a little bit quicker. But let us test this out, check it out in practice. Not a whole lot going on with this suit, but still, because of the other skills and gimmicks that it has going on through those, Still worth discussing a little bit. These loading times have been really bad today. Come on. Get on in there. So, right out of the gate, we should probably check out. So, three of those 4 had to hit for a stun on something normal. Obviously, damage control and stuff is going to make that change a little bit. I will say right out of the gate, the ready out time on some of the stuff when it comes to the axe and sword kind of makes going in between them a little bit tough, in tandem with the fact that their swings are still very exaggerated and slow. That's just a typical thing for Geara Dogas though, unfortunately. But like I was saying before, big thrust for that. And then if we get up in there, 2 big swings and then a huge shoulder rush for that. But you can cancel out of that big shoulder rush and do other stuff if you want. One thing I'm gonna try here. Yeah, so you can get that beginning part of the heavy attack in as long as you tag them once and cancel out of it with your block and just hold down that charge. So if you have the time and if you've got an intimate moment with your target when it comes to supports and stuff, you know, you can wind that up and bust that out and pretty much just finish them off. That being said, your baseline tags for, you know, neutrals and stuff like that are not bad. You do have a pretty good aggressive kind of tilt going on when it comes to its general reach and stuff like that. But I think the one thing that's kind of foil you a little bit is just the lack of speed and snappiness for when the hitbox actually comes out for some of these. You're gonna miss a lot of clashes. You're gonna have a lot of people kind of just run over whatever you're doing because you're just not gonna be as fast as them body-wise. But, you know, grenade and surface, nothing super crazy going on with those. No heavy staggers or anything like that. Just extra stuff to help keep things still so that you can do your meat and potatoes for your, you know, your stuff. I'm still very impressed with this rifle too. It feels like an evolution from the Doga Kai already being a stronger cumulative kind of situation, while still having the same kind of like steady burst, in a way that kind of makes it a little bit easier to handle depending on the speed of your target, than even the command rifle for the Doga sleeves and stuff. Still, with the very low baseline range that this does have, this is not necessarily a base buster. You can try to put some more range on it. I wouldn't really recommend it. There's better things to spend it on because it's mostly not what you're going to be doing in this suit one way or the other. But you can contribute. That's the important part. Still, we had a couple rounds in this. We're going to put one round in for the Doga FF right around here.
Up and at 'em, Mobile Suit Team! Sortie time!
Oh well.
Here we go! Commence operation!
Little R44, what are you doing, buddy? Where you going?
We captured a beacon!
Oh, that's gonna be... It's gonna be satisfying when that actually does get stuns, but it's gonna be really stupid every time it's like a shot short because they hit me out of it or something. Hey.
This damage shouldn't affect you much.
I rolled out of it. Oh my god.
Your ally's been knocked out!
Move your ass.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
This charge on a heavy attack's not really fast enough to get it into much unless you're just... Oh, I gotta be careful of that.
Your ally's been knocked out. You've taken some serious damage.
Oh, yeah, they fight. But I don't have the skill to get out of it.
Whoa, you're...
Stop it. Bang, bang. Take it. Take this. No.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Your ally's been knocked out. Enemy mobile suit destroyed. Your ally's been knocked out! Oh no! Your mobile suit has had
It
it!
like hooked me on that downswing and just yeet.
Pick where and how you'll sortie. Your ally's been knocked out! Good luck!
Hello.
Enemy down! The enemy's captured a beacon! Enemy mobile suit destroyed! Enemy mobile suit destroyed! An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit! Enemy down! We captured a beacon!
Oh, I still hit him? No.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit! An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit! This damage shouldn't affect you much.
No.
You've taken some serious damage.
Get him, get him, get him.
An ally has
Yeah.
destroyed an enemy mobile suit! Whoa, you're...
No. Oh god, oh god, oh god.
No! Your mobile
Yeah,
suit...
Doga sleeves can still fuck this thing up pretty easy though. As for all the buffers that it has, the coverage of those buffers is not very big.
An enemy mobile suit!
Yeah, I'll do that after I'm done messing with the FF on here and getting my dailies done.
Looks like we're ahead.
So thank you for the heads up.
Good luck! Your ally's been knocked out!
Ooh. Oh boy, hold on. No, back up for a second.
Your ally's been knocked out! This damage shouldn't affect you.
Oh my god.
Some serious damage. Oh no! Your mobile suit has had it! Good luck! The enemy's captured a beacon! has just jumped up in priority. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. This damage shouldn't affect too much. You've taken some serious damage. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Whoa,
My lord, dude.
Oh no! Your mobile suit has had it! An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Good luck! Stay sharp! Your ally's been knocked out!
No.
An enemy mobile suit. This damage shouldn't affect too much.
Thanks, I hate it.
Oh no! Your mobile suit has had it! An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Your ally... Good luck! Time has run out.
Oh.
Yeah, we won! Here are this battle's rewards.
And that was our round in the Doga FF. Should be told, outside of some of the more technical stuff that you can do, this isn't a very, like, flashy suit. It's literally just a Geara Doga, right? Regardless of who ran it. Most people aren't even going to do full frontal colors or keep it that way. They're probably going to do resin or something else. But I can see this, at least in the first couple levels, being pretty reliable, especially because of the amount of accumulation and stuff that it's got going on with the rifle leading into its melee. You know, the kind of cutscene stagger combos that you can do with the beam sword and the axe are kind of whatever. It's mostly going to be about tilting that, getting that charged up, and just letting it loose on people whenever you can. And then probably just you know, getting out of there with that cancel as well. Keep in mind that the initial guard, the amount of boost that it takes to do that is pretty significant. So there are going to be times where you really just kind of put yourself close to redline and you're not going to get a lot of time out of it. You know, so there may be some merit in putting a little bit of boost negation and or just extra boost in there to make that last a little bit longer and not be such a big deal. Still, very simple suit. I'm kind of dreading seeing this eventually get in there for higher costs. I have a feeling that even though I'm saying it's going to be kind of like whatever at those costs, that it probably will have some adoptees that will really make this thing sing, especially if they get a lot of level scaling or cheater parts on this in general. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. Let me know your experiences in the comments. And good luck. If you want to go all the way with this, I would say at the very least, get the first level, check it out, especially since it's a discounted spin, because I do like it. I'm not really someone who's very big into doing like full tilt melee suits, but this has enough balanced stuff in it when it comes to range and lead-in that it agrees with me enough. But that's the long and short of it for the Doga FF. Out of the two, I would say you're probably going to get a little bit more use out of this if you don't already have some higher end stuff at 650 that will kind of do what the Abbey is already doing. That being said, if you haven't seen that video yet, we do have that up So be sure to check out both of them this week. And until next time, I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, whatever. This is going to be Goose out the 13th, signing off.